Many people after watching my video ask this common question. Do you give SriVidya initiation? The answer is yes and no. Because I am not giving SriVidya directly. So you need to know why. And I'm going to share my journey. Because if your heart is pulling towards Ambal, if you feel, that magnetism towards Mata Lalitambika, but at the same time, you have uncertainty or even fear, then this video is going to help you and guide you. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to give you something that is more valuable than information. Because I'm going to give you my journey. Why preparation is important than initiation. So your readiness should be there. So what does the readiness actually means? And my Shakti awakening journey and how I built my community of Shakti awakening sadhakas. Because through that, I believe in inner transformation, not just consuming the spiritual sadhanas. That is not going to help. It's only going to be external. So that's what I believe in. So if you want to know deeper, stay with me till the end. Shri Matre Namaha Guru Kataksham Ambal Anugam Paripurnam. In this video, I'm going to share my experience, my journey into the Shakti path. Before I go deeper, I want you to just think about this. If Ambal gives you everything you're asking for, but your mind remains the same, would you still have that freedom, that liberation? That's the real question. That's the real, the question that you should be asking. Because many sadhakas don't fail due to lack of devotion. They fail because they jump straight to that highest practice when their inner system is still noisy, is still reactive, and leads to leakage of the divine energy through speech, through the habits, through unhealthy relationships. This is why I don't give SriVidya directly. I prepare the sadhaka first so that the sadhana becomes like, rain on a fertile soil, not on stone. Because I believe SriVidya is about transformation. And you should be ready for that. If you just keep chanting mantras will work. But it'll take a long time to work on you because your inner soil is not fertile. So the seed mantras, it's not growing because there is so much of weeds. So you need to clear that clutter within, then the mantras will work faster. So that's the journey that I realized, and I offer that to the sadhakas in my community. I grew up in the family where spirituality is not occasional, it was the atmosphere. There was daily Lalitha Sahasranamam chanting, that the pujas, rituals happens regularly, homam happens regularly, bhajans, attending spiritual discourses. And Ambal was not new to me. In fact, my mother who gave birth to me, her name is Lalitha Ambal. Ambal is there from the very beginning in my life. She has entered my life long back, from a very, very young age. Even though she is there in my life, she is there in everyone. But I'm talking about the realization. She is there in my life from the very beginning. Something I learned is, even when Ambal is present in you in your life, that does not automatically mean you're ready to hold the power of Shakti or what SriVidya demands. So SriVidya did not come to me when the life was comfortable. It came to me when I was at my lowest point of my life, when I was drowning. Drowning because of health, drowning because of financial issues, those sleepless nights, feeling of being cornered by life. And there was so much of anxiousness. Mind became louder, and the pujas and rituals became raw. Instead of connection I was doing, but there was no connection. And actually, Ambal was the haystack when I was drowning. So here I want to tell you, I did not realize Ambal for the first time when I was at the rock bottom. She was already present, but I finally became available with Ambal at rock bottom. Now you need to understand here, readiness is not about your exposure. Readiness is not about being born in the right house or knowing the right scriptures or even having, strong bhakti. Readiness is what happens when the life presses you, yeah, until your ego becomes tired of fighting and your soul becomes honest, which is learning to surrender. That's why even though I grew up in a surrounding, in surrounded by spiritual practice, every family member, and this continued even after marriage. After marriage, the house I entered, it was filled with spirituality. So that's why even if you grew up, you know things, you know, actually I became truly ready at the lowest point of my life. Not when everything was happening, not when everything was working, not when I was confident, but when I was drowning. That's the only way I can, that's the way I can describe this. So when the mind has no strength left to pretend that I can handle, when your identity is collapsing, when you don't know what you have to do anymore, or when you don't know who you are anymore, sometimes that is the moment when Ambal comes, or you'll be able to realize Ambal in the truthful manner. So Ambal becomes not just to worship, but to lean on, to depend on, because that's how it makes you soft, it makes you real. And that is when initiation becomes meaningful. People always feel, if I get initiated into SriVidya, I will grow materialistically. Yes, you will grow. But there is a process which you need to, don't start SriVidya because you want to grow materialistically. Start SriVidya because you want to realize Ambal. Otherwise, even the sacred journey, the sacred path, like SriVidya, can turn into anxiety because you have expectation, impatient, comparison. You want quick things, but it is not working because you have not still worked internally. That's why I don't give SriVidya directly. If you're asking me for SriVidya, I truly appreciate, I respect your desire, but I respect the tradition more. I want you to receive it as transformation, not just some initiation or information. Even though I'm practicing SriVidya since 2003, even though I am Lalita Sahasranamam part of my life for nearly my age, and here's the real turning point that happened, where I was not only able to transform my life, but I'm able to help others transform their life. Because this matters. This, you need to know this. You need to understand this. Especially if you're someone who thinks, I am late, I should have started earlier, I should really be doing something powerful. My journey is, before all this, before the Shakti Awakening journey, I was into digital marketing. After 2020, I left everything. Yes, of course, without no choice. I didn't even know what we have to do. From the outside, it was like a period of emptiness. But, that silence, that period actually gave more time to go, go deeper internally. And one day, from the inside, you know, that emptiness is sometimes like that sacred pause, a space of creation, a space where the old life is dissolved and new life emerges. Actually, the mind wants certainty, the mind wants a plan. But Ambal is not giving you the plan exactly. She does not give you the plan, the entire roadmap. She gives you a whisper. That's what happened with me. In that period, it felt like, Ambal dragged me into into a path, like a mother guiding a child by holding the hand. So when actually the child can't see the road, that what came to me was not a long instruction. It was just a whisper. Start. You start with mantra. I was like, what mantra? Then a phrase kept returning, repeating within me. It said, Nada Bindukala. My mother-in-law used to sing Tirupugal. And in that, there is one Aarti song which says, Nada Bindu Kaladi Namo Nama. So that Nada Bindu Kala was reverberating. That became like a seed sound in my system. Actually, that day I didn't fully understand it first, but I started to see something. Slowly there was some changes. I was able to see. I was able to get that like downloads, and I started doing. I used to conduct. My husband is a trainer and a coach, so I used to help. So we used to conduct training. There was some kind of every skill of mine came into full use, and I started with mantra, power of Vedic mantra workshop. That's how I started. After that, it evolved into Shakti Awakening, which is right now. It's a different story, but coming back to how it changed, how it transformed. So so you need to understand, I didn't fully understand what I have to do at first, but I surrendered. I started to see something slowly. Every step I take, I was able to see the next step. So slowly through experience, the creation happened. So the creation is not only physical, creation is vibration. Creation is shaped by mantra, by intention, by listening to your intuition, by connecting to the divine, by connecting to Ambal, by alignment within. This journey, what I am telling you, it is the journey of Shakti awakening. When Shakti awakens, your life stops being random. Your words gains respect, gains weight. Your time gets, you'll be doing something meaningful. Your mind becomes less noisy. Your choices become aligned with the true purpose. And there is a very mysterious way in which what you hold inside begins to shape what shows up outside you. So over time, I experienced this in my life, not as one-time miracle, as a pattern. And that is what made me realize many seekers are hungry for SriVidya to get initiation. But what they truly need is, first is Shakti awakening by working internally. Because without Shakti awakening, SriVidya becomes only ritual performed by anyone. So I'm not interested in rushing you, but I'm not interested in even impressing you, but I'm more focused on preparing you, because preparation is not delaying. Preparation is devotion with intelligence. It is the respect we show to Ambal by becoming the vessel to hold our power and channelize in the right way. Shakti has to become part of your life and lifestyle. Shakti has to become part of your habit. It is not only dedicated to your puja room. She is way of life for you. That's where the life transforms. That's where magic and miracles happen in your life. Through you, you'll be able to lead a purposeful life. So remember, initiation without preparation can become confusion. SriVidya, as per the scriptures, it is meant to reduce bondages and bring inner freedom, a deep inner shift where your every area of your life changes. That's why there is structure. That's why there are stages. That's why you need a foundation and you need commitment to this journey, not by rushing. And I told you about the whisper, right? Nada Bindukala. Nada Bindukala is the creation, sound of creation. Which means the power of mantra. That's how I started. Has the power to create. What to create? Create good things in your life. Become a good person. You'll be able to manifest what you want. Even the scripture says that. If you look at Lalitha Sahasranama, I'm not saying. Lalitha Sahasranama Parashruti says you'll be able to manifest everything that you desire. Which means that is a path of creation. Creating the life that you truly want. So my journey, that whisper, start, did not mean start initiating everyone. It means start building a doorway which can create space where seekers can become ready emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically, devotionally, without pressure, without fear, without feeling I'm not good enough, I don't know how to do, what is the next step. The way I have created this is based on the powerful Lalita Sahasranamam, Devi Kadgamala Stotram, Durga Saptashati, Saundarya Lahari. These are not just the mantras to chant, they are actually the power to shape your inner world. Each Namam in Lalita Sahasranamam is a coded, decoded message to realize your purpose, realize or to lead a fulfilling life, to transform your life, to grow, to manifest what you want. How you should approach SriVidya. Don't approach SriVidya like a shortcut. Approach SriVidya, approach Ambal like a child approaching a mother, with sincerity, with steadiness, with willingness to shape yourself. And even if you start from wherever you are, whoever you are, your life starts changing, your life starts transforming. I want to tell you one thing, especially if you're going through lowest phase right now in your life, if you're in that drowning feeling, if your mind is tired, you want to give up, if you're scared about the future, if you feel you have been left behind, you have been let down, and you don't know what to do next. So I can tell you, I have lived that space, and I'm telling you from my experience. Sometimes Ambal chooses that moment not to punish you, but to empty you, to make you ready. Because that emptiness becomes the space to receive. So the space becomes receptivity, and that receptivity becomes grace. Another important thing when I say manifestation, because that should not become your starting point. Manifestation is, I'm not telling you some fantasy things, because I'm speaking about how your reality responds when your consciousness becomes aligned, your speech becomes sacred, your life becomes intentional. Over time, you'll be able to see the transformation in your life. You'll be able to manifest things in your life. Like how Ambal didn't just comfort me, she guided me to create something meaningful. So, and that's how slowly the entire concept of Shakti awakening formed. Because this is the living pathway. I have lived this pathway, awakening the divine Shakti step by step in a way which is safe, which is grounded, which is from bhakti with the power of mantra. When you want to enter into Shakti, let your foundation become strong. Let your practice, the sadhana, becomes consistent. Let your inner world get purified. Let Ambal become a living presence in your daily life. If you want to go into Shakti Awakening journey, you can attend my workshop where I'll be giving you the next step to enter into my community of sadhakas of Shakti Awakening beginner journey. So I have given a WhatsApp group link below this video. You can go through join the WhatsApp group where I'll be sharing the details of the upcoming workshop. If you have any doubts, do ask me in the chat box. I'll be happy to help you. And do type Sri Lalitambikaye Namaha in the chat box. So I know you are becoming ready to enter into Shakti path. Guru Kataksham Ambal Anugraham Paripurnam. Shri Matre Namaha.